Hope you're well. I'm going to finish the week, or the working week, this morning, talking about a few different things, really, that have been floating around my brain all week. The first thing I want to talk about is part of the reason why I've created this group. Sometimes get a little bit lost in it. And I want to start off by saying that it's really easy for me to just read something or listen to something or watch something and then jump on this page and say, okay, I've just seen something great, I think it might be helpful, here's the link. But for me, what's the point in that? I feel like what I'm trying to do on here is talk about it in layman's terms, break it down a bit, chunk it, so that it's easy for you to watch or read and just take a little bit for that day, because sometimes I know when I'm watching something or reading something, it just becomes overwhelming and it feels like there's a million things I should be doing, and I haven't got the headspace for it. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit every now and again, or every day, or however often I can, just to think, okay, I'll have a little go of that and see if it works for me, or I'll think about that today and see if that changes my mindset. So the first thing I'm going to say today is have a think about your morning routine. I think your morning routine is really, really important. I've noticed it myself. If I start getting up at different times and sort of not really have a routine, then sometimes it can affect the rest of my day. So whether your morning routine is just getting up and having a brew and taking 5 minutes to just sit and have your brew and relax before everyone else is up, whether it's your morning routine is to get up and sit with your little one and watch a particular programme, or I don't know, or give them breakfast or whatever, or maybe it's to get up and meditate, maybe it's to get up and go for a walk, go for a run, maybe it's to get up and read a book, or whatever it may be. Try and do it every day and wake up at the same time every day, because that can massively impact the rest of your day. The brain loves habit, so if you can get into a habit in the morning, then it might help you plan the rest of your day as well, and maybe even the rest of your week. The other thing I want to talk about is, I've read a post a couple of times now and I thought it was brilliant. It's really, really good. I might forward it onto this group actually, and it's about we're all in the same boat. You probably read it. And I thought it was really good to gain perspective, because I've said it myself. I've said it to a couple of people that have been speaking to, oh yeah, we're all in the same boat. And actually we're not. We're in the same storm, I think it says, but we're not in the same boat. And that's right. There's people in very, very different circumstances at the moment. Very different circumstances all over the world. And I think sometimes when you're in your own little bubble, it's hard to remember that. So in fact, I will post it, because have a read of it, and it's just to understand that there are people worse off than you, and there are people better off than you. But at the same time, you can only deal with what's on your plate. You can only deal with what's in front of you. But just be mindful of the people around you. So like I spoke about the other day, about showing that little bit of respect and empathy when people are reacting in certain ways, because we are seeing odd behaviours at times. We're seeing people panicking, people narking at each other in shops, having to go at shop assistants. Okay, it's not great, but you don't know what situation they're in. You know, if you see me in a shop, I don't know, losing it over something, not that I have, but if you did, that you don't know my situation, you don't know what's going on, you don't know whether I'm struggling to put food on the table, so you don't know what my point is. You don't know other people's situations, so be mindful of each other. And I just think that post was a really good way of just that there's a lot of other situations that people are in that you may not understand because of your situation. On the other hand as well, what I've been thinking about a lot this week is, I know that sometimes people might be looking at what I'm saying or reading what I'm writing on my group, and it might not be resonating at all. You might be thinking, oh, what a load of codswallop or whatever. And you might be reading something else or listening to someone else and thinking, no, I don't agree with that, or it's just not resonating at all. And that's okay, because you know what? At the moment, It might not, and it might be a load of codswallop, but at some point in the future, you might be ready, or that person might be ready to hear maybe just a little droplet of what's been said or what's been read at some point. So if that happens, like I think about it with my own son, I'll use him as an example. Over the years, I'm obviously always trying to talk to him and teach him about certain things, even when it's coaching football, whether it's talking about life, whether it's schoolwork or whatever, whether it's getting into routines. And sometimes it feels like I'm banging my head against the wall. It's like he's not listening, he's not taking it in, there's been no change. But then sometimes a month, a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years, something happened this week where I was like, wow, I spoke to him about 3 years ago. It's almost as if he took it on 3 years later. I sort of paired that with something I was listening to the other day with sometimes people aren't ready to take on board information and use it. And it's not the right time in the life, or it's not the right time in the headspace or whatever. But then, so however long down the line, then it's there. That little droplet is there that they took in however long ago. And then they start using it and it helps them. I remember being told things from when I was about 20. And I wasn't ready to take on board that. But now, I'm 41 years of age, those words are sort of ringing in my head. And I'm using the advice I got 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So if you're speaking to someone, you're helping someone, or you're helping your children, or you're helping someone around you, or you don't be disheartened when you feel like they're not listening to you. Because at some point, if they need it, those words are there. Those actions are there. Those things that you've said, those things that you've done, they're there. And one day they might be ready, and they might choose to use them. And that's got to make it worth doing or saying something. And that goes with you reading and listening and finding things that work for you. You might not be ready for them yet, but give them a go. Because I think my mum first introduced me to mindfulness when I was 16 or 17. I had a little go. I think it was meditation or yoga or something. And then I put it on the back burner. And then, 15 years later, 20 years later, there I am giving it a serious go, and it's impacted my life loads. So I hope this makes sense. And like I said before, I don't want to rattle on too much, but there's just a few points that I want to finish the working week with. I hope you're all well. As always, give me a shout if you've got any questions. If you do want me to direct you to any websites or any books or anything that I've seen, give me a shout. If you just want to check in, give me a shout. But I hope you're all well, and I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Take it easy.